Welcome back to the Jazz Pursuit. In this video, we're going to look at the beautiful Rodgers and Hart ballad titled My Funny Valentine, written in 1937. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to stay up to date with new content and releases. Enjoy! First, let's start with the key bits of information. My Funny Valentine is usually played in the key of C minor and in 4/4 time. The form is 36 bars split into an A, A1, B, C form. The first A section is 8 bars, followed by the second A section, which is also 8 bars. This is followed by the B section, that's 8 bars, and ends with the C section, which is 12 bars. Before we look closer at the tune, it's worth working out our relative major. Because we're in C minor, this is up 3 semitones to E flat major. Now, let's take a look at the harmony in the A section. The A section begins on chord 1, C minor, and it stays in this tonality for the first 4 bars. The first chord is C minor, the second chord is C minor major 7th, the third is C minor 7, and the fourth is C minor 6. These subtle changes in chord create a lovely descending chromatic line through this chord progression, based on the sevenths of each chord. We start on the root of the C minor chord, C, then move to the major 7th, B, on the C minor major 7 chord, which falls again to the minor 7th, B flat, on the C minor 7 chord, which falls again to the A, or the 6th, on the C minor 6 chord. This line can be outlined in your improvising or comping, but it's also used in the bass line. Here's what that sounds like. C minor to C minor major 7 over B, to C minor 7 over B flat, to C minor 6 over A. The next chord is down another semitone to A flat major 7, chord 6 of our key, which is then followed by chord 4, F minor 7. After this, we need to go home to C minor to start the next A section. So we do this through a minor 2-5-1, D half diminished to G7 flat 9, ending on C minor and the first bar of the next A section. I've called the next section A1, as harmonically it's almost identical to the first A section. However, it's worth noting that the melody in this section is different to the first A section, hence A1. The first 6 bars of this section are the same as the A section. C minor to C minor major 7 over B, to C minor 7 over B flat, to C minor 6 over A, which falls another semitone to A flat major 7, chord 6, which then moves to chord 4, F minor 7. Then we have a different ending, as we're now moving towards the B section, which is in the relative major, E flat major. We get there through another minor 2-5-1, despite us moving to a major key. F half diminished is the 2 chord, B flat 7 flat 9 is the 5 chord, and E flat major 7 is the 1 chord and the start of the B section. Before we look at the B section, let's take a look at the melody up until this point. In the first A section, the C minor tonality is clearly outlined, with the melody moving through the root, second and third of the C minor scale. Here's the first phrase. This is then repeated as the second phrase. The next phrase begins the same way, but then jumps up to a B flat on the F minor 7 chord, the 4th, before falling through the scale to an F, the 3rd on our D half diminished chord. At this point, it's worth mentioning the phrase structure. The first 2 phrases are short, followed by a longer, more developed third phrase. The next section copies this phrase structure and is a development of the first A section. The first phrase this time is based on the 3rd, 4th and 5th degree of the C minor scale. And like before, it is repeated as the second phrase. And the third phrase is a development, this time jumping up to a D on the F minor 7 chord, the 6th, before falling to the 3rd on the F half diminished 7th via a chromatic approach note. Now let's take a look at the harmony in the B section. As we mentioned, this is in E flat major, the relative major of C minor. The B section starts by confirming this key, moving through the 1st, 2nd and 3rd chords of the key in half bars. E flat major 7 as chord 1, F minor 7 as chord 2, G minor 7 as chord 3, then back down to F minor 7 as chord 2. This movement is then repeated in the next 2 bars. In the 5th bar of the B section, we move away from E flat major. From E flat major 7, we go up a third to G7, which takes us to C minor 7 as a 5-1 movement. From here, we have a quick 2-5-1 that takes us to A flat major 7, B flat minor 7, to E flat 7, to A flat major 7. We then need to get back to C minor for the start of the C section, and do this through a minor 2-5-1, D half diminished, to G7 flat 9, which takes us to C minor and the start of the C section. The C section starts the same way as the A sections, with the descending bass movement. C minor to C minor major 7 over B, to C minor 7 over B flat, to C minor 6 over A, which takes us down another semitone to A flat major 7. This time, rather than going to chord 4, F minor, like the A sections, we go back to chord 1 through a minor 2-5-1, D half diminished to G7 flat 9 to C minor 7. We then copy the same harmonic movement from the 6th bar of the B section, only this time stretched over 2 bars rather than 1 bar. C minor 7, then a 2-5-1 to A flat major 7, B flat minor 7 to E flat 7 to A flat major 7. My Funny Valentine ends in the relative major, E flat major, so the final harmonic movement is a 2-5-1 to take us here. F minor 7 to B flat 7 to E flat major 7. A minor 2-5 then takes us back to the beginning of the form, D half diminished to G7 back to C minor. A lot of this harmony makes more sense when we look at it in relation to the melody. The melody in the B section is a perfect example of this. Harmonically, we're moving through the 1st, 2nd and 3rd chords of E flat major, and our melody outlines this. It starts by approaching the root from the 2nd, before jumping up to the 5th and then back down to the root. The second phrase then develops this idea by jumping to the 6th rather than the 5th and then returning to the root again. Then the third phrase is another development, jumping another note higher to the 7th before returning to the root, then climbing up to the C, the 3rd of the A flat major 7 chord. The C section brilliantly develops the melody from the A section. It's played once based on the root 2nd and 3rd of C minor, like the first A. Then it's played again, but this time based on the 3rd, 4th and 5th of C minor, like the second A. Then it's repeated a third time an octave higher than the original phrase, which takes us to the peak of the melody, the E flat in the 7th and 8th bar of the C section. After this peak, the same phrase from the second A section ends the tune, only framed differently as it's underpinned by a major resolution. To summarise, here's a quick overview of the tune. The A and C sections are all in C minor, but the B section is in the relative major, E flat major. The first A starts in C minor, and the bass falls in semitones until we reach A flat major 7. Then we go to chord 4, F minor, and finally modulate back to C minor through a minor 2-5-1 for the second A section. The second A section is identical to the first, only this time at the end we modulate to E flat major for the B section, rather than back to C minor, through another minor 2-5-1, F half diminished to B flat 7 to E flat major. The B section emphasises the change in tonality by moving through the first, second and third chords of the key. Then, in bar 5, it breaks this pattern and moves up a third to G7, which takes us to C minor. From here, we move to A flat major through a 2-5-1, and then back to C minor through a minor 2-5-1 for the C section. The C section begins the same way as the A sections, with the descending bass line from C to A flat. Then it goes back to C minor through a minor 2-5-1, before copying and extending the harmonic movement from the B section, a 2-5-1 to A flat major. The tune ends in the relative major, E flat major, so a final 2-5-1 takes us here. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's helped your understanding of the tune My Funny Valentine. Do like and subscribe and leave any questions you may have in the comments section below. Happy practicing!